What up guys, it is Justice here and welcome to a new video on this channel, Ascension Crossbows versus the Noxious Longbow. A lot of it comes down to distance versus DPS, the cosmetic look, and to be honest, just your personal preference. We're going to get straight into this video by looking at the damage output from each weapon and looking at which weapon combination gives you the most DPS. I'm going to start the video off by looking at the DPS output from each combination of weapons. I'm then going to put the weapons into a PVM context, actually various different contexts, so Nex, Araxor, Rise of the Six, QBD, Virago, Ascension Legionnaires, and potentially raids towards the end as well. So I'll be talking about all of these different PVM situations that you might want to use these weapons in. Range is used a lot in the game right now as well, so this is going to help you hopefully make an informed choice on what weapon you would like to choose depending on what boss you go to the most. Okay, so I've recorded the loadout of each of the weapon combinations. I've got the Noxious Longbow with the Raxite arrows. That gives you a base ability damage of 1981 and an accuracy of 3670. Looking over to the other image of the dual ascensions with the Ascension bolts, that also gives you a base ability damage of 1981 and an accuracy of 3670. And that's just with the armor setup, the standard range setup which I've got going on for me right now. Now on the surface they both have the same ability damage output, however if you look further deep down into the actual abilities themselves, the two-hander abilities versus the dual ascension or dual wield abilities, a lot of the community are aware that the dual ascensions have a needle strike ability that gives it a flat 5% damage increase with your next attack. Therefore it's very nice to use before snipe basic ability, or if you can use threshold abilities it's good to use before those like rapid fire for example. Therefore, dual ascensions deal more DPM, aka damage over a minute, let's say, and to be honest, that's pretty much all it has going for it, bar the fact that you can use a shield with just the main hand if you are still learning your DPS rotations and maybe come into a little trouble when soloing a boss. But you do also have to take tanking into consideration, and I'll link this to raids later on. But you've also got irrelevant dual wield abilities. Now for the Noxious Longbow, most of the good range abilities can be used for both dual wield and two-handed weapons. The other abilities are not really used that much, such as unload ability, as the majority of the time you go through full death swiftness rotations. So dual ascensions have DPS going for them, and if that's your absolute priority then go for them. But before you do, just take into consideration an important plus side of owning a Noxious Longbow, and that is the distance. There are various PVM situations where distance can really work to your benefit when wielding the Noxious Longbow. First off, we're going to start with Nex. You can stand far away from the minions when attacking in between the phases, which means you take less damage over time, and if using a Nihil to solo, let's say, then you're using less food intake, which really helps you out. Also, in the blood phase, you can attack the Reavers when they're far away from Nex, and you can still stay within MD. This comes in very useful when you're soloing. Now moving quickly over to Araxor, most people will choose range over melee here due to it being easier for most, including myself. If you want speed though, you choose melee. If you want easy consistent kills, you choose range, such as the Noxious Longbow, in my eyes is the way to go here, more especially though when path 1 is open, as you can attack the spiders from a far distance away, again distance becoming a beneficial factor here. And by the spiders I mean on path 1, where Araxor releases all of those spiders for you to attack, you can attack them from a far distance away, so you don't need to be right near them, which comes in very useful. Although I know now many are using the Noxious Scythe here due to the two-hander buff, and it is a great laugh using that there. It is however personal preference here what you choose between Ascensions and Noxious Longbow, because you can get away with just using Ascensions here and get that extra DPS output. Now moving on to Rise of the Six, the Noxious Longbow has a higher auto attack than dual ascensions. Many pro rotters out there will use Anticipate before the fight starts and then hit the first brother with an auto attack which can hit up to 3k before quickly using their first ability. This gives more DPS. In addition to this, you can attack the brothers from a long distance away, which usually benefits you if Carol starts bombing. Again though, personal preference. Now we'll take a look at QBD, the Queen Black Dragon. Noxious Longbow with the Raxite arrows deals more damage than with Dragonbane arrows, however the accuracy from Dragonbane does seem to make up for the lack of damage. With that being said, would you choose a Noxious Longbow at QBD and why? The answer is yes, you would if you want to chill out more whilst doing it, as the distance factor means you can stand very close to the next artifact, which comes in really useful. However, if you are more experienced at QBD, you should have the following setup. Main hand Ascension Crossbow, plus a level 70 plus throwing weapon, such as a level 80 attuned Chakram, and Dragonbane bolts. This deals consistently the most damage for a range setup at QBD. Now moving on to Virago, you're probably best just using dual Ascensions here, as you don't need distance factor here, and Ascensions deal slightly more DPS. You can also easily back up Bomb Tank if needed. The Ascension Dungeon, the Legionnaires, are weaker to Ascension Bolts, and therefore it's best to use dual Ascension Crossbows here, and it's literally as simple as that. But a lot of you might be thinking right now, what do you do though if you need to tank or heal your teammates and you've got a Noxious Longbow equipped? If you need to tank for a bit, or you're within a group fighting a raid boss, let's say, and you want to heal your teammates, then all you need to do is switch to a shield bow, such as a dark bow or a strike bow. This also works well when you're soloing necks. And like I said at the beginning of this video, I am going to mention about raids, because that is a new boss fight that has now came into the game. It's a group boss fight. How do Ascensions and Nox Longbow work into this different context? Dual Ascensions are better to tank against Yakamaru now, and definitely will be when you can wield a full set of Acto Tempest gear. That is the new tier 90 ranged tank armor. Due to the set effects when using a shield. With the full Acto Tempest gear, you can get a set effect where 50% of your offhand Ascension Crossbow damage is added to your main hand damage output when wielding a tier 90 shield plus the Acto armor. But let's wrap this video up here. Overall, range is good almost anywhere in the game right now, and if you need to decide on your next upgrade from dry gauze to be either magic or range might be the best place to start with the current state of the game. When it comes to deciding between the Noxious Longbow though and the dual Ascensions, just think carefully about what I've said in this video, compare the different PVM situations, but you'll find, like I said in a couple of times in this video, they are very, very closely related, and a lot of the time it just comes down to your personal preference. Oh, and the Noxious Longbow spec gives you a free spider pet. Anyways, I hope this video helps make you a more informed choice on what range weapon you'd like to buy and use. It will largely be dependent on what bosses you do mostly, and I've gone through a few examples of this in the video. Any other PVM situations you'd like more info on, or you would like to include yourself in this analysis, then please do comment down below and we can all discuss it there. Thanks for watching, good luck on your PVM trips, feel free to subscribe and make sure to thumbs up this video to share it with others. I'll see you in the next one.